Welcome back, guys, for a new episode of A La Une Arena. Tough game last night. The Lakers are up 3-1 against the Heat. Mr. Wetz is with us today. What's going on, Mr. Wetz?
I'm doing all right, Richie. Thanks for having me again, man. How you doing, bro?
Man, we're doing good. We're doing good. You know, sports is keeping us alive. But yeah, man, it was a tough game for the Heat. Tough loss for the Heat last night.
Right.
Lakers are up 3-1. So they have a chance to close out the series. And what's it gonna be like? They're gonna win their 18th.
I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head. I think the Celtics still have the most championships, but I don't remember the number from at the top of my head right now. Unfortunately, you called me.
Let me not get ahead of myself because maybe the Heat is gonna make a comeback and then push it to. Seriously. Fans are not gonna happy about that.
I know, but hey, man, it is what it is. It's over.
All right. Let me give you the stats for yesterday. The Lakers won 102-96. So game 5 is going to be on Friday at 9 p.m. I believe. So let's start with Mike. It looks like it was a tight game. Each quarter was tight. Couple runs like 5 points leads, or I don't think it went above 20 or 15 points. It was all tied up. Fourth quarter, the beginning, it got so tight. At some point, it was a 3-point game. Mm-hmm. What did you see that the Miami Heat did not do well to close out this important game to tie the series?
For me, like outside of the poor shooting from certain individuals on the Miami Heat squad, namely Kendrick Nunn and Jay Crowder. I think what plagued the Heat most in this game is empty possessions. I think they took a lot of time to get into their sets, and I think that's, that comes from the fact that Jimmy Butler really isn't that guy for them most of the time. It usually was like throughout the regular season, it was, Kendrick Nunn and Goran Dragic, obviously, running the point for them. And, they've run a lot of play action plays for Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero. And a lot of their offense is generated from that, with Bam Adebayo, being the incredible passer that he is as well for the team. I think the Heat didn't really capitalize on a lot of their possessions. I think Jimmy Butler, especially coming off a 40-point game, wasn't as aggressive as he should have been. And I think that's something that's plagued them throughout this series, is the fact that every time he's going downhill, coming off those screens, I say about 70% of the time he's looking to pass the ball instead of actually scoring. And, in that position, I mean, with playing against the Lakers, that's not what they need right now. What they need is Jimmy Butler to be aggressive and look to score every time. Every time he goes through the paint, it's either you're either gonna foul me or I'm gonna get to my spots and get off a good shot. But overall, that's what I kind of saw that was the reason why he couldn't really close out that game last night.
Yeah, he had 22 points, 3 turnovers, 9 assists, 1 block, 3 steals. Was shooting 47% in field goal. I don't think he shot any threes.
No, he shot threes. He shot he was 0 for 3 last night.
0 for 3. All right.
Yeah, the only credible 3-point shot that he took was with less than 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. The other 2 were just desperation heaves. So that's another thing that's kind of frustrating that kind of frustrated me watching the game, is the fact that they're going under screen. They're just not guarding Jimmy Butler behind the 3-point arc. And look, you're good enough, to take 3-point shots. I understand that you didn't shoot a good percentage throughout the season. I think Jimmy Butler was around 25% for threes for the regular season. I think it went up a little bit in the playoffs, but I understand his reluctance to shoot the three, but you're good enough to shoot the 3-pointer. Like, we've seen you do that throughout your career. You have game winners shooting 3-pointers for God's sakes. You're not Ben Simmons. So you should be taking threes with confidence when they're given to you, instead of holding the ball and staying stagnant and really trying to get to your spots. It's good enough that you're trying to get to your spots a lot of times, but the downside is a lot of times that you're trying to get to your spots, you're looking to pass and make those reads and kickouts to a Duncan Robinson, a Tyler Hero, a Jay Crowder, a Kelly Olynyk. But when you have those open threes, you should be able to step up and shoot with confidence. And yeah, those are some of the factors that plagued the Heat last night.
Any positive aspect that you took down from the Heat that you believe that they can fix those holes and maybe like capitalize and take game 5, like make it 3-2?
Yeah, absolutely. There are some positives. I do hope that the Heat take out one more game out of this series. Unfortunately, I think they had to have this game. Now I think it's kind of set in stone, because like when you look at it, yeah, LeBron James started off slow, Anthony Davis started off slow, but they eventually picked it up in the second half. The bench for the Lakers is producing really well for them, and they're playing as good of a defense as they could possibly, like against the Miami Heat, and they did a great job against Jimmy last night as well. So those are some things that I take as positive for the Heat, because as many bad possessions as they had, where Tyler Hero being fancy on a fast break, missing a wide open layup, twice on a fast break, pulling up for 3-pointers, when you have a full shot clock to play with.
Yeah.
They were in the game. They had the lead for a few minutes in the game. I want to say, like, off the top of my head, maybe 10 minutes out of the 48 that they played. I think Miami probably had the lead. I could be wrong. Like, you could fact check me on that. But like afterwards, the game was really close. It was a 3-point game for a while, until I think they went on a 7-0 run, and they got some separation where they went up by, I think, 9 or 11, if I'm not mistaken, and then you end up losing by 6. You're in there. That's one of the most frustrating parts for me watching the series. Thinking that it was going to be a sweep. Goran Dragic is out of the series, unfortunately, but they're still able to compete, and I take that as positives for the Miami Heat. And I hope they're able to take one more game out of the series. I think they have enough to take one more game out of the series, but it's going to be tough.
Yeah, there was 3 minutes left. LeBron took a defensive rebound. It was 90 for Lakers and 88. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a close game, man. It was a close game. It was nerve-wracking for a lot of people. Like, it was a throwback, grinded out defensive game, man. It reminded me of a Detroit versus San Antonio series, like back in the mid 2000s. Like
the Detroit Pistons of Chauncey Billups.
Yeah.
Ben Wallace.
Yep.
Wouldn't you also say that a factor? You said Anthony Davis slow start. I'm gonna ask you to set a question. Do you believe that is the change of the tactic of Spo, taking away the zone defense and then now doing a man-to-man? Is it bothering AD a little bit? And also, wouldn't you say also, it was a tight game, but the Lakers have more talent than the Miami Heat. Wouldn't you say they have more clutch players? Like Anthony Davis had two clutch plays at the end, clutch 3-pointer, and I believe someone did a clutch layup. I think Rondo had a clutch layup as well. Wouldn't you say like more?
I think it was KCP.
KCP, yeah. Wouldn't you say more experiences came in, and the Lakers were able to close out, whereas the Miami Heat was not able to?
Yeah, experience is a little bit of a factor. I won't say it's like everything in this series. I mean, obviously you have LeBron, you have Rondo, you have Danny Green, you have vets like Jared Dudley on the bench. What's his name from Golden State?
McGee.
Yeah, JaVale McGee got a chip with them. Quinn Cook. Like, you got a whole bunch of vets on that team. Even Dwight Howard went to a finals before. But like I think like I said, like when we were discussing it last night, is that Miami is extremely well coached. You have vets on that side as well that's been there before. Like not necessarily anybody that's on the court right now playing for them.
Like you doing this, Aslam?
Yeah, there. But they're still extremely well coached. I think the adjustment that Spo made to switch a lot and to go man to man is something that's working really well for them, because when you're looking at the first two games, like they weren't in the games at all. Like, they were just getting destroyed. And because AD was just dominating them. And AD's still able to get his numbers, but that's a lot of ball movement for them. And the fact that Morris and KCP were hitting their shots last night, opened it up a little bit more for him. And he was able to get on the glass a little bit. But what they're doing versus Anthony Davis is pushing him out further from the low block. And I think that's part what they're doing, and a little bit of, Anthony Davis being lazy as well, not really wanting to go to the low block. But, that's besides the point. But I think they're doing a good job, man. I think that's the best thing that they could actually do to give themselves a chance against Anthony Davis and his talent and the size of, both AD and Dwight. And when you look at it, Dwight didn't even play that much last night. He only played 8 minutes. And I think they figured it out because, their shots were falling and they were able to move a little bit better without, those two bigs on the court.
Yeah. And for Game 5 prediction, who do you think is going to win?
I hope Miami could come up with the win to extend it to Sunday. But I unfortunately think the series is over. I think
Sorry, Miami Heat fans.
Yeah, I think it comes to a close on Friday. It's going to take, game 3 Jimmy Butler again to rally this team, and it's going to take Tyler Hero to play well throughout the game. It's not
that it would have to contain AD, because AD did not. I think AD ended up with 5 points at Game 3.
Okay. Yeah. All that factors in. But when you look at it, Tyler Hero played one good quarter, out of this entire game. And those are things that I'm saying that, the Heat could take as positives going into the next game on Friday. It's like you played our second best player at this point, in this series, because Bam hasn't played really. Only played one good quarter, and Bam came back. Bam gave them really good minutes. And the other thing that they could look at film is that, we have to move a little bit better. Jimmy Butler has to be a little bit more aggressive, and again, take those shots that are available to him.
All right. Well, that was me personally. Yeah. I think the Lakers are gonna close. I believe that this was a must-win situation again, and like LeBron said on his conference after the game, he said both teams were desperate. The Lakers were desperate for that win. They didn't want a series tie 2-2. You're giving Miami Heat too many confidence now, so it could shift away. So like LeBron was saying, both teams were desperate. I believe the Miami Heat should have won that, and 3-1 is kind of hard battling. You see how hard the Miami Heat has to battle to beat the Lakers. I believe it's gonna be over game Game 5. But in my heart, I wanted to go to extend to Sunday because I want to see more basketball games.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, because we don't even know when basketball's gonna be coming back. So
exactly.
let me enjoy. So yeah, this was Game 4 recap and a Game 5 prediction. But before we close out this show, Mike gave me his top 10. Is it in your order? Like,
yeah, I sent the order afterwards. Like okay. when I did the names before, I didn't do any particular order because I know like if I didn't put LeBron James at number 1, people were gonna like, how you not have LeBron James at number 1? But yeah, LeBron James is not the best player in the league for me right now. So you know.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but I did send the order afterwards.
I see KD is your number 1.
Yeah, KD is
okay.
number 1.
So this is Mike's top 10. I'm gonna put that also next to in a rated manner. KD number 1, LeBron number 2, Kawhi number 3, Stephen Curry number 4, Lillard number 5, Giannis number 6, Luka number 7, Harden number 8, AD number 9, and Embiid is number 10. And he also mentioned that Jokic can also be number 10 and Embiid will be 11. One thing I did not see there, and I'm gonna take my journalism side there and then jump in my opinion. Hold on, let me play this first. Hold on, give me 1 second, man. Give me 1 second.
Hold up, wait a minute.
Yeah, something ain't right, Mike. Where is Kyrie Irving in your list? Where is this? Where's the skater, man? What's the best handler in the NBA right now? Why is he not in your number 10?
Kyrie is somewhere hanging around top 15 right now for me.
What's the reason? I give you 30 seconds for this reason.
Simple fact. What has Kyrie Irving done since he left Cleveland? This is a what have you done for me? Most.
Nah, I'm joking.
I mean, come on. Like, if he's injured, he's injured. Like, you know, can't put him top 10 if he's injured all the time. Like, unfortunately, like, you know, the one series that once he went to Boston, you know, he went down. The kids took that team to the finals without him. Then next year he comes back with the same team. You think that they're actually going to do something special. They win game 1 pretty convincingly versus the Milwaukee Bucks. And then he just did an incredible choke job afterwards, like, you know, just disappeared. And afterwards, like, he decides to run away from the team and goes to Brooklyn, you know, just months before saying like, yo, you know, doing this whole fancy schmancy thing, saying that if you'll have me, I'm more than happy to be here. Right. Then he goes to Brooklyn. And what happens again? He gets injured. So that's 3 years in a row of Kyrie Irving just doing nothing. I understand the guy's I understand he's talented. But, you know, this is just showing me in regular season, outside of Cleveland and his success there, like, he hasn't done anything since. So for that reason alone, he is not in my top 10.
So he's installed.
Yeah, like, you know, if he comes back this year with KD and they make a run and he shows us the talent that he has and, you know, the reason why he's so jealous of LeBron and he wants what, you know, all the things that LeBron has and he thinks that he won the championship by himself for Cleveland. Yeah, obviously, you know, he's a top 10 player. But, you know, until then, like, nah, sorry.
My bad. Oops. Oh, all right. That's a fair point. He has been, like you said, there's a 3-year gap that we haven't really seen so much of who Kyrie is and know who Kyrie is. So I give you this. But one thing I can say, this is gonna be another discussion we can talk about. If Celtics had Kyrie this year, they would have beat the Heat.
I don't know about
That's
that.
more aggressive than Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker was overpassing. Kyrie would have taken the hill. Give me the rock, though. I'm closing this. Unless he wasn't making his shots, but he would have taken that chances that Kemba was not taking.
Right. This is definitely a discussion for another time. All I have to say, in Kemba's defense,
gonna get Fabrice
just the same way, like, you know, Kendrick Nunn is struggling in the finals right now, is the fact that Kemba Walker was injured going into the bubble.
He came inside the bubble. He dropped 30 points, and he was ready. He said he was so pissed off that they would put him in a minutes restriction. The thing is that first series they didn't really need Kemba, so he was chilling, overpassing until things got tough. He never got into his momentum. He never got to his peak and then it was too late. When people were saying like he was playing well, but if he had bigger games, it could have been a 7-game series.
I mean, I guess we'll agree to disagree. I think with Kyrie Irving on that team, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum don't have the room to grow as they do now.
I can agree with that. That's why I wasn't mad when he left. I'm like, okay, maybe it's better for the kids, and maybe it's gonna be better for Kyrie to be happy somewhere else. We're gonna see him though. We're gonna see him next year. We're gonna see him in KD.
Hopefully.
So we're gonna see. Yeah. He's like,
for
hopefully.
for more than 60 games.
Oh. That's a big right there. All right, Mike. I appreciate your time.
Appreciate you.
Your afternoon, man. Next time, man, we can chop this and see if maybe the Heat can move on to Sunday. Peace out.
Peace. Thank you, man.
All right, man. Thanks.